Rocket here with a brand new system from AMD from the Ryzen 2.0 that came out. I have the 2600X CPU paired up here with the ASRock Fatality B450 Gaming K4 motherboard. Ryzen ready, as you can see here on the box. I did a review of this board. You can click here if you want to watch that review. Today we're doing some benchmarks with that board and all these awesome components that I put in this RGB system. That's right. We've got LEDs left, right, and center here, changing, customized, all provided by Cooler Master. So we've got an air cooler from Cooler Master. We've got fans from Cooler Master. We've got the controller and, of course, the mid-tower case itself. Look at this CPU cooler. I did not use the default Wraith Spire CPU cooler that came from AMD. Instead, I'm using the Cooler Master CPU cooler, which I'll do a separate video review about so you can get more detailed on that one. And of course, I've got an AMD RX 570 graphics card there as well. So very adequate amount of power here with SSDs installed for top speed. Here is the list of components. You can pause the screen at any time during this video. We've got lots of power thanks to the EVGA Supernova 1000 watt GE 80 plus gold certified modular power supply. And like I mentioned, we've got great components. Patriot provided the Viper RGB memory, and ASRock provided the Fatality B450 gaming motherboard. So all of these together are really going to give us some great results. Now, when it comes to the Ryzen 2.0 specs for this processor, 6 cores, 12 threads, as opposed to its nearest competitor, which is the Intel Core i5 8600K. That one is a 6-core, 6-thread. This one has, of course, 19 megs of cache as opposed to the 2700X that has 20 megs of cache, 6-core as opposed to 8-core. So, I mean, it depends on what you want to do. The base clock is fairly close, and also the maximum clock there, as you can see, 4.2 gigahertz, which I'm going to lock it in eventually at 4.2. I want to run this puppy at full steam ahead. 12 nanometer architecture, of course, and that's one of the new things about this architecture in Ryzen 2.0, right? Which means that we expect to have lower temperatures now, right? Because as they make things more efficient and less power hungry, this one has a TDP of 65 watts, then we should be able to get to better temperatures, especially if you have liquid cooling. And I might actually do that in a future video review. I might switch this over to liquid cooling to see how it does. If I can overclock this even further, maybe reach close to 5 gigahertz, we'll see. Now, Precision Boost Overdrive, obviously, because we have the B450 chipset on the motherboard from ASRock, the Fatality chipset that I'm using is the B450, I get the same features as the top-of-the-line X470 chipset. So I don't need to go out and get the latest and greatest motherboard. I can still get the benefit of the Precision Boost Overdrive and the Store MI to maximize your speed on your SSD, for example. So that's nice, to have those features. Now, when it comes to benchmarks, we're going to put this system to the test with all of these great components, starting off, of course, with the motherboard. Like I mentioned, the ASRock B450 Gaming K4 is ready to go here on Windows 10 64-bit with that Viper RGB memory running at 3200 megahertz at CL16 timings, as you can see right there. I got the XMP profile set up in the BIOS, and I showed that actually on my previous video of the ASRock board. Here we have the system running on idle, so it's not locked in at 4.2 gigahertz. It's just sitting there doing nothing. And, well, when it's doing nothing, it's running pretty cool and quiet. Look at this puppy. It's a beautiful sight to see with the LEDs and the RGB on this Cooler Master case, must admit. And temperatures, well, they're running roughly about 32 degrees Celsius when it's on idle, and that's with air cooling. Okay, imagine if I put a liquid cooler in here, how much cooler it would be. So awesome stuff here going on. On average, of course, it's going to go a little bit higher, but nowhere close to what it would get on full load. Now, when I run this at full load, that means at 4.2 gigahertz plus, all engines running, all 6 cores, alarms are running, everything is ringing, the voltages are running high, the power supply is running at full steam with the fan, to keep things nice and cool. And, well, yes, it does go all the way up to 86 degrees Celsius on full blazing load because I'm running everything, including the GPU, at 100% load. So obviously, you know, the system is going to run a little bit toasty on this air cooler. Now, benchmarks, of course, you can see here the terrific results I'm getting on the AIDA64 cache and memory benchmark. The read, write, copy, and latency of this memory is really good, really fast. CPU Queen here is giving me a result of beating the Intel Core i7 8700K. Wow, that's great results there. You know, running almost as fast as a 8-core there. So very nice on the CPU Queen. Moving along to other benchmarks from AIDA, we have here the zlib or zlib, the compression benchmark there. And again, it keeps the CPU system, you know, at a very high results in the ranks, which I'm very impressed. Again, it's all relative to the components. The ASRock B450 Gaming K4 running that B450 chipset is really maximizing what we can get out of this, along with that DDR4 memory, of course. So I can't complain. The results here, as you can see, are not lying. I'm getting really good results with all of these components, and I'm not necessarily breaking the bank. I mean, this CPU is going for around $220 now on sale. I'll add the link below if you're interested on that. They've got a sale with free shipping on newegg.com right now. CPU Z, by the way, right here, CPU Z has a single and multi-thread score, which is pretty interesting. You can see the processor here, the 2600X, how it's outperforming previous generation CPUs on the single core thread, and then on the multi thread, well, it ranks right up there high with the Intel Core i7 8700K CPU, actually. So you can see it right here, how well it performs when all threads of this CPU are being utilized. So for those of you looking for something multi-threading, you know, lots of cores, you know, this one is really doing great performance for the amount of money that you're paying for it. $220 on sale right now at newegg.com. Cinebench R15 benchmarks, again, on the CPU single core. There are some previous generation CPUs, Intel Core i7s, that I'm comparing this against. And, well, on the regular CPU multi-core score, you can see it right there, also outperforming other types of Intel Core i7 CPUs. So you can see how the Ryzen 2.0 with 12 nanometer architecture is really bringing out the best of what AMD can provide these days. And I'm not disappointed at all in seeing that. Now, overall system benchmarks in PCMark 10, 5543, you can see there the overall score, the general score. I'm really only looking at the CPU score. That's what I like to look at when I'm doing these types of benchmarks. But this gives you an overall sense of how this system compares to their other templates, I guess their other benchmarks, their baselines that they've got there on their website. Okay, now I did a further comparison. I searched on their website there to see how this 2600X system that I have compares to a 2700X with the same graphics card, and also an Intel Core i5 8400 processor. You can see there how that scored with a 1060 NVIDIA card. Okay, now for those of you interested in a TimeSpy 3D, you know, graphics benchmarks more than the CPU itself, well, I added that in here as well just for laughs, so you can see that as well and see how the system compared with the RX 570 GPU. So I made a separate review of that a long time ago if you're interested in seeing the results of that. But, you know, that gives you a sense on how well that system performs and compares to the Intel Core i5 8600K, which is the actual competitor of this CPU. Okay, apples to apples. That's really what AMD was aiming for when they came out with this. And also I put up there the Ryzen 5 1600, which is the previous generation, if you're interested in seeing how that compares. So great system overall. I mean, the RGB lighting is all compatible with this ASRock board. All the connectors, everything can be obviously customized. If you're interested about that, you can look at the ASRock video that I did, and also I'll make future videos here to show you about the Cooler Master kit that I got there as well to control and configure the lighting and the effects and the colors. Obviously, you know, you can change this to any color that you want. It doesn't have to be purple, pink, blue, whatever. So there you have it. Great system. Great board, great memory. You know, the components really make a difference. These are the main ones. I like to thank them all for providing them. And comment below. Let me know what you think, again, of this awesome AMD 2600X system with the Ryzen 2.0 CPU, the ASRock board. And if you're interested in knowing more about that board, I'll add the link right here so you can watch that right now. Comment below. Let me know what you think. And again, thank you for watching.